bridge collapsed. The mountain road washed out. All the signs are obscured by fog. Your only directions are detours. Eventually it dawns on you. Sometimes you need to get lost to discover where you're supposed to be. Welcome to Merlin's Barn.
Good evening, this is Merlin, and welcome to Merlin's Barn. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time. We are broadcasting, as usual, from Fort Blanket, south of the Yukon. This evening we have with us
Matt,
Tasha,
and a silent majority in the background.
who is now waving in an audio podcast.
Yes. And this is a wonderful evening where if you see hashtag Free Merlin popping up anywhere, especially maybe in future merchandise, this is the evening where I have lost access to my Facebook, and we can't figure out why, but people are having an absolute heyday posting Merlin memes and Free Merlin on my Facebook page, as I can't touch it.
So Merlin is not off of Facebook. He can't speak on Facebook. He's become some sort of Facebook mime.
I didn't know Facebook mimes could exist, but now I do. It's a new thing.
He's been banned for illegal moose dealing over Marketplace.
We don't talk about the moose dealing.
Look,
All right.
just because you were trying to find him for battle and
Battle moose! I want a battle moose now. All right, tonight the topic is floods, specifically pumpkin floods, as researched by Matt.
because it's Halloween. Well, it's Halloween for us. Apologies, or you're welcome if you're listening to this while stuck in Labor Day beach traffic. But it's a non-linear podcast.
It's very not linear. We're not even sure what time is, honestly.
Time is not linear. Time is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so. Ford Prefect taught me that.
So, you want to jump us into pumpkin floods?
Sure. So, pumpkin floods. Yep, they are a thing. And no, they're not as absurd as the London beer flood or the Great Molasses Flood of Boston. Expect future episodes on those.
That one's the molasses floods one I've grown up with, and for years I just thought it was like the people who died were just sitting there playing checkers and looking at it going, well, molasses has moved another foot. Well, we'll find out differently when we cover that one.
It's actually quite horrifying.
It is horrifying. Don't die that way, please.
But that's another topic. No, pumpkin floods are much more whimsical. Although they still usually are associated with river floods that have death, destruction, and despair.
But in a whimsical way.
Yes.
Yes.
Whimsical flooding.
So, real quick background. I learned about pumpkin floods through a West Virginia native plant forum I'm on because I was learning about the mulberry trees in my yard. Then I learned that the Iroquois, I think it's Iroquois Indians. Yep, the Iroquois Native Americans in my area actually cultivated mulberries and pumpkins. But more about that in a moment. What is a pumpkin flood? I can't do a better job of describing it than Dr. Robert Thorson of the University of Connecticut. So I'm just going to quote him here. At first, each pumpkin simply gets wet. Then the floodwaters rise, covering the pumpkin's bottom. But just before it's submerged completely, a pumpkin floats skyward and reaches the end of its tether, resembling an orange lobster buoy being dragged by a rising tide. The floodwaters keep rising. Fields of pumpkins are uprooted from the saturated ground. Then with anchors cut, a pumpkin fleet is swept downstream. Thousands of spherical ships then bobble like enormous tangerines in muddy water, dragging their twisted stalks behind them, announcing to everyone that a lingering wet tropical storm is doing its October thing and might just get worse.
And you just know that this is New Englander by the reference to lobster pots.
Pumpkin Rat King.
What?
A pumpkin rat king.
Pumpkin rat king?
When all the rats kind of got all tangled together and their tails are all tied together, it's called a rat king. That's what I'm imagining the pumpkins kind of being.
I have never heard of this, and I have not been more horrified at the vision.
I have heard of it, but I'm still horrified by the vision of it.
I'm very upset about it, and the combination with pumpkins, because now I'm getting like wet rats tied together with pumpkins floating downriver, and none of this is good in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, you're just
It may have appeared in an an unpublished Indiana Jones movie. Is what it sounds like.
That or some sort of shadow out of the Innsmouth Lovecraftian nightmare that we haven't heard of. Thank you, Tasha.
You're welcome.
Can we just go back to Edgar Allan Poe and people on absinthe, like right out of their gourd? Because that just seems sane right now compared to this.
Yeah, well, especially, I mean, I think we were headed like Lovecraftian. That's where like Poe is just sort of nice, dark, gothic insanity. Lovecraftian is we're just going to delve further into the nightmares and talk with some psychologists and figure out how much worse we can make it for you.
That man needed to see some psychologists. He had issues.
I've
both of them did, but like...
I've read his letters. Yes, the man had issues. All right, but back on pumpkin floods, which I'm sure which actually would be in the region, some of them in the region of Lovecraft. So why he
could
didn't?
have witnessed that.
Yeah.
We have dates. We need to see if there's crossover
No,
there.
there's no crossover. I've read all this stuff. Okay, sorry. I'm going to stop talking.
Murder board episode, unplanned.
Yes.
All right. Just want me to continue, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, before I get that nightmare of Rat King back in now it's back in my head again.
All right.
Brain bleach.
Moving on as hard as I can here. So the earliest records I found references, and I'm quoting here, the pumpkin flood of 1753, end quote. Yet there weren't a lot of newspapers in 1753, so it's not really well documented. It occurred on the Shenandoah River near the confluence of the Potomac. About a decade later, we'd call that area Harper's Ferry, but it wasn't even called that there then. You might know it from the early part of the American Civil War. At the time, the Shenandoah River Valley was sparsely colonized and was quite remote from the 150-mile away pre-state colonial capital of Williamsburg. So there were not many English in the area. There were some German and Irish settlers that were from present-day Pennsylvania, but mostly it was inhabited by the Iroquois, who, along with the fishing, hunting, and gathering, as I mentioned before, were farmers and horticulturalists that had mulberry groves and farmed corn, beans, and squash, or pumpkin. So there was an autumn flood that dislodged the nearly ripe harvest of pumpkins from the gardens that were planted along the lowlands in the river, near the river. And that is about all the story there is on the 1753 flood.
Riveting.
Yeah, there was a flood. It had pumpkins. That's about all they had to say about that one.
Well, that's when you mentioned researching this. I started just going on. I went online and I just found a massive list of floods, but virtually like no first-hand accounts. Or I think you eventually found on a later flood, you've got some first-hand accounts.
Right. Yeah, we got a little bit more information as you go through the years, and you get newspaper reports.
I was just looking for like some New England. Oh yeah, we saw Farmer Benson floating down the river on a bunch of pumpkins. Can't find anything like that. But did find that there's like tons of them. I mean, how many did you initially find?
I didn't actually list it out. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 76, 7, 8, about 9.
Yeah, I think that's where I am, because we've got Harper's Ferry, Susquehanna, Connecticut River, Beaver River, Chemung River, New York, Ohio River, Wheeling, West Virginia, and then we've got the Delaware River in Bucks County, PA. Yeah,
you've got a couple I didn't have in there, and then some flooded multiple times, like the Ohio and the Delaware rivers had multiple.
But it's like even though I've got extras in there, it doesn't mean much because it's another just pumpkins floated down the river. Okay.
Yeah. The next one I came across was 1786, and I was in the Susquehanna. It was October 1786. The wet summer and fall produced a bumper crop of pumpkins and also saturated the ground. And in early October, torrential rainfall caused the Susquehanna River to flood. Reports at the time said that the river was anywhere between 6 and 10 feet higher than normal. The next one I came across was 1811 on the Susquehanna. And that actually had there's actually a little bit of a quote from the history of Clearfield County. The crops of the season had not been fully gathered, and those in the lowlands were carried away by the waters. At times, the surface of the water seemed literally covered with pumpkins swept from the fields along the river, and from the fact that this was ever afterward termed the pumpkin flood. This event was not single to this locality, as a like flood occurred at the same time on the north branch of the Susquehanna, which extended far up toward the headwaters of that stream and was there known as the Pumpkin Flood. No serious damage was done to the property in the locality of the West Branch, as settlement was in its infancy, but slight as the loss was, the burden of it was felt by the struggling pioneers. And then there was another one in 1847, a freshet.
That's a new term to me.
Yep, but there's your vocabulary word of the day.
Freshet. Freshet. Remember that one for your next Scrabble.
It's the flood of a river from heavy rain or melted snow.
Let that specific. What is he specific? Well, I mean, actually, what else causes a flood typically?
There was some other words for other kinds of flooding besides river flooding.
Oh, so this is just for rivers.
Right, it's a river flood versus
okay,
like
it
a
is
coastal
specific.
flood or a flash flood or
Gotcha.
Banana flood.
You
can just cover all the fruits.
See, October 1903, the Delaware River flooded after 20 inches of rain in 3 days. You mentioned the Ohio River had pumpkin floods. I came across 4 different times the Ohio River flooded.
That's beautiful.
A minor aside to the 1903 flood. I think it's in my other note over here. I'll try not to crinkle paper too much. Yeah. That was from the result of a tropical storm that broke up over Virginia and North Carolina, where it rained on the Wright brothers for 10 straight days, delaying the first powered manned flight. There's your other murder board connection. Because pumpkin floods, and we had to introduce aviation.
Pumpkin floods, lack of flying because of pumpkin floods, or rain related to pumpkin floods.
Yeah. Rain causing pumpkin floods.
I did find some recent pumpkin floods, though. 2010 and 2021, there were floods in the Connecticut River.
We've got 2005 here, too, isn't there?
I think there was one then also.
Tropical Storm Tammy?
Yeah, 2005 Tropical Storm Tammy. 2021 Tropical Storm Elsa. And we're getting to why the tropical storms keep coming up. Yep, both those 2005 and 2010 storms flooded the crop of Gladstone Farms in Fairleigh, Vermont, and carried them downstream, where most of the impact was to the Dartmouth College rowing team. 2010, approximately 60,000 pumpkins were carried away in flooding from Tropical Storm Earl, and Dartmouth College students' canoes collected them to carve for Halloween. And meanwhile, the rowing team exercised against increased current. And a quote from the women's crew coach, Wendy Lavash: "We hadn't heard about the pumpkins before practice. We showed up for our Saturday morning row to find them floating everywhere." Some of the men's team turned the situation into an aquatic video game. Trevor Scott was quoted as saying, "Occasionally we hit a pumpkin with an oar. Our coxswain pretended it was a video game like Mario Kart."
See, and that's
it's
where...
Yes.
That's where I desperately would love to see photographs or videos of this. I mean, I know that's... When did smartphones come out?
It would be around...
the early 2010s.
Maybe about that time frame. If you start getting smartphones. It was definitely digital cameras.
You know,
there were iPods with cameras and video recording.
Well, the other thing is this is on the water, though, and how many people are going to carry their digital devices out in the water?
Not in those days.
Somebody out there has to have a photograph or video of some of this, and I desperately want to see it. And if you find that, send it to merlinsbarn@gmail.com, and I will be an extremely happy Merlin.
Oh, here we are. 2021, I think, was the most recent one I had found. Now, come on, there's got to be video by 2021 from someone's smartphone of pumpkins.
I haven't seen it because I was digging around after you were digging around.
I mean, I realized that one may not have impacted, the Dartmouth rowing team because I think it was further south on the river. But come on, there's got to be. Someone had to have video of pumpkins bobbing in the river.
That's
just
weird.
3 years ago. Come on, It's post-COVID.
Somebody's going to help us with that.
You had to have come out of your house and got it away from like your sourdough you were making to video the pumpkins on the river. Like,
if you find that and send it to us, we'll find some sort of thing to send you, whether it's a small Canadian flag that you can wave, or if we come up with #Free Merlin merch by that point, then we'll send it your way. But we need video of pumpkins floating down a river that you haven't put in it yourself. by the way. We'll put that caveat
Yeah,
on
no releasing some
No
pumpkins
cheating.
yourself.
Yes. No freeing the pumpkins on your own. It has to be storm related.
And I mean,
Entirely organic and natural pumpkin flooding. Although if somebody does go around and release 1,000 pumpkins into the river, I am going to give you some credit for that because that's just cool.
that would be impressive. And if you're searching for video on a 2021 storm, Havana Farms Pumpkin Patch in Glastonbury is where the pumpkins were cut loose from. So you can check like any video feeds along the river south of that point.
I want a clarification because you use the term cut loose. I'm assuming they are like dredge out of the ground. They're not being cut. But I just want.
No, you're right. That one because I think that storm was actually July. Yeah, it was July of 2021.
Oh, that's like babies.
Those ones broke loose. The other ones that floated down to Dartmouth College that came away from
Dartmouth College pumpkin invasion.
From Gladstone Farms, those had actually been harvested. Were like in baskets, like waiting for like.
Oh, that's cheating. They're supposed to rise up as was described and break free.
I wanted a Rat King.
Ballet of not Rat King nightmares.
Rat King pumpkins.
I quit.
This
is now Tasha's broadcast with the Rat King from Port Blanket, south of the Yukon. Stay tuned.
Dr. Robert Thorson, so his quote describing the pumpkins, that was from an article. I believe the article was written about a week after that July 2021. So those were the pumpkins that came loose with their roots all tangled up, I'm sure, in some sort of pumpkin Rat King situation.
I'm feeling better. The Rat King repeated. Re-emerging, though, is going to give me nightmares.
The theme.
It's a theme that I don't like. Should we do the Dr. Thorson quote?
Okay. Yeah. Did you want to?
Yeah, I'll take
pick this
that.
one. All right.
From Dr. Thorson again on these on our pumpkin floods. And by the way, there will be a quiz after this. And if you do not know well on it, well, you've disappointed your ancestors, and we'll be calling your parents. Large northeastern rivers are bipolar with their respect to their flood regimes. Spring floods commonly occur from heavy rains that combine with snowmelt. Cold, brown water, often decorated with ice chunks, is the result. Fall floods are caused by the drenching moisture of tropical storms that are most frequent near the end of the hurricane season. Warmer, clearer water with bobbing pumpkins can result.
And what another great quote. I think if we can get Dr. Thorson on for an interview, that would be so much fun. He will not know what's coming at him when he gets a call from the Merlin's Barn podcast asking if we can interview him.
He'll probably be pre-warned, run away, there will be discussions of the Rat King, and you just don't want to know.
Hey, Merlin, you want to see something?
No.
That's a Rat King.
So that little bit of my soul that has grown back since leaving school today is now in the negative. Send Moose, please.
And we will not be sharing that picture in the link below.
Yeah, that picture will not be in the notes. It will not be on the website. It will not be on the Instagram. It will not be on Facebook, at least by any fault of our own. And should any of you decide that you need to add this in the comments on something like the group, I curse you.
A Rat King can consist up to 30 rats typically.
Gosh,
they're all just tangled together.
I was looking forward to pumpkins bobbing down rivers.
But we like rats, and it seems so horrible and terrible for the rats.
I had a wonderful rat. Her name was Lucky.
The
All right, keep rolling. If we keep talking, maybe the rats will disappear.
Talk the rats away.
I thought you wanted another pet rat.
One rat, not your nightmare entangled Lovecraftian
30 rats.
So, if you've never heard of pumpkin floods before now, chances are it's because you do not live east of the Ohio River and north of the Shenandoah River in autumn time in the United States, because pumpkin floods seem to primarily be related to hurricanes and tropical storms. Just to kind of wrap up a little bit about pumpkin floods. Through American history, it was a unique and outstanding event. It made the news, but prior to national weather reporting and tracking, prior to like the Galveston hurricane in 1900, if you were in New England and it was a nice cool autumn that was just randomly punctuated by 2, 3, or even more days of just warm, heavy rains, and then it flooded, You remembered the pumpkins floating, but you didn't associate it with a hurricane at the time because you didn't know that Florida had just been steamrolled by a hurricane. Now we know all this, and so you see those orange baubles floating downriver with the tree branches and corn cobs. It was probably preceded by a hurricane or a tropical storm. And so, again, I'll just back to Dr. Thorson again. I will close with his words of that New England's flood season won't be over until the jack-o'-lantern candles are all safely blown out.
I quite love that.
I like that ending.
And having grown up around Concord, Massachusetts, I'm just sort of picturing the Concord or Sudbury River with nice pumpkins floating down. It's sad that I've never seen that. So, you've learned about pumpkin floods.
You learned about rat kings.
Yes, we have learned about rat kings.
Going to stare blankly into the distance for a moment, and then go pour bleach in my ears. Please remember that if you're listening to this, you should have signed the hold harmless waiver beforehand. So should you have nightmares about rat kings, it's not our fault. Please. And as always, thank you for listening. If you have some stories that are inspired by the pumpkin floods and not the rat kings, please.
Don't give me rat king stories.
Please no. Do not listen to the small person. The wee one is infected by rats of the brain.
I'm just a couple of rats in a trench coat.
Oh God, help me. Or should you have stories from detours or anything like that, please send them to merlinsbarn@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Merlin's Barn. And if you're on Facebook, by the time you hear this, hopefully I've got some sort of account back in my control.
There is a Merlin's Barn podcast Facebook page.
Yes, there is a Merlin's Barn podcast Facebook page, and there's a group called, what is it called?
It is the Barn Owls Roost.
Okay, the Barn Owls Roost. You can find those all with the usual Merlin's Barn logos on them, which Nicole developed. It is just a great sign of us. I'll stop rambling. You all have a wonderful day, evening, night, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Halloween, whatever time of year it is. And once again, thank you for listening.
Good night. So this microphone reminds me of the acoustic panels I was installing on a wall in the embassy in Baku last month.
Why were you installing acoustic panels?
They wanted this room to be quiet. You couldn't hear the conversations in this room out in the hallway. And so they gave us a box of panels and a case of liquid nails. And these acoustic panels came off of Amazon. And they had as much information as this microphone does. There was no manufacturer name, no manufacturer website. There was no what they were made of, no California, proposition cancer warning, nothing, no SDS. For all we know that they were actually just made of asbestos and human blood. I don't know.
This is like the last two sets of tires I've tried to buy for one of the bikes I'm restoring upstairs. And one set showed up from China, and they showed up with a set of inner tubes, no less, but they're solid rubber and a hair too large to fit on the wheels. And the next set showed up, and they were completely spread flat, which is physically impossible. So in both cases, somebody saw tires and then made something that were sort of like tires, but have no physical way of actually working.
An artist rendering of a tire.
Yes. This is what I had a dream once, and a tire came to me in a dream. And then I woke up and I made a sketch, but I'm a really bad artist. And then I took it to the people at the rubber place, and they made these.
Reminds me of a wooden horse figure I got one time. Nicole says, this was made by someone who longed to see a horse.
It's like that meme that keeps showing up where it's like, this is the car you drew when you were 3. It's that red car, that red vehicle at a gas station, and it really looks like a child's drawing of a car.
So that's what I love about the Lada. It looks like how you would draw a car.
it's this car was made by people who yearned for a car.
Yes.
Let's see how that one.